everybody. Wendy Pinnell, broker and realtor with On Track Realty. Guys, I wanted to talk to you today about kind of this funny idea that some buyers have about working directly with a seller's realtor. Like sometimes they think if they work with the seller's realtor, then the seller won't have to pay as much, and so they'll get a better price. Maybe they think it gives them an edge, like, ooh, if I work directly with the seller's realtor, the seller will accept my offer over somebody else's. Okay, guys, completely false, a total fallacy. Even though I get told this a lot, I'll have somebody call me and say, hey, can I view your home? I'll work directly with you if you'll get my offer accepted. And I'm like, well, that's fine, but that doesn't really do anything. So let me kind of tell you how that works. When a seller and realtor first get together, okay, they agree on what the commission will be. They do not agree on what the seller's commission will be necessarily and the buyer's commission will be. Really, what they agree on is a whole percentage, okay? Let's just say for the sake of argument that it's 6%, okay? What's happening here is that the seller and the realtor are saying, the seller is saying, listen, I will find you a buyer and you will pay me 6% of the sales price, okay? Then there's another article in the listing agreement that says, hey, if I happen to use a buyer's realtor, I'll split that commission with them. Okay, guys, what you need to know is that the seller's realtor is going to get 6%. Okay, the seller is going to pay 6% no matter what. And maybe they'll split it with the buyer's realtor, or maybe they'll get the whole thing. Okay, so it's not as though suddenly the seller's only going to pay half if the buyer works directly with the seller's agent. Okay, so that's a fallacy. Let's talk about why. There are rules, and we've talked about so much about how many rules there are that realtors have to follow. One of them is that if it's an agreement between the realtor and the seller, we can't bring in the buyer. Okay, it's an agreement between two people. The same is true when you negotiate a contract between a seller and a buyer. You can't turn around and negotiate the realtor's commission, okay? Because it's not a contract that involves the realtor. It only involves the buyer and the seller. Does that make sense? So, in other words, if a buyer decides to work directly with the seller's realtor, the seller doesn't get to go back and renegotiate the commission with the seller. That agreement already took place. It is not changing. It doesn't change regardless of whether there's a buyer's realtor or not. Fallacy. Okay, guys, so here's what happens now. Let's just say this savvy buyer says, okay, I'm going to work directly with the seller's realtor. How many sides of the transaction is the seller's realtor doing? Well, they're doing both, okay? They're working both ends. So why shouldn't they get paid the 6%? They're working with the buyer, they're working with the seller. They're doing twice as much work, okay? So this fallacy, and I don't know where it comes from, that the listing agent or seller's realtor should only get paid 3%. Not sure where that one comes from, guys. And ultimately, what does it boil down to? It boils down to the fact, okay, that you're going at this with no representation whatsoever, thinking that somehow the seller's going to accept your offer because you're working directly with his realtor. Not the smartest of idea, guys, okay? Doesn't make sense. All right, that's it for today. I will talk to you guys again later.